There is a moment for everyone where he does something so awful, and it's not the first red flag. It's usually not even the worst thing he's done. It is the moment that you realize he's not going to change. This is who he is. And it's not because you didn't say it right or you didn't try hard enough. You just understand finally he's not going to change. And then nothing happens because you stay. You keep talking to him. You keep showing up. It's like you're going through the motions and you're questioning yourself. Now, I want to break down exactly what's happening the moment you understand you can't save him and you still don't leave. And by the end, you'll understand why that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you and what is actually still keeping you here. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach, author of 5 books, and international speaker on the topic of domestic violence, abuse, and toxic relationships. I help women get out of these horribly abusive relationships and rebuild after they've left. So let's get into the details here. There's a shift that happens, and it's not totally emotional. It's a recognition that we need to address here. You stop trying to solve it, and you start actually recognizing that there's a pattern here. You start seeing the repetition. There's a point in all abusive relationships where people don't understand, and you hope he can change, and you wish, but there is also a point where we have this aha moment, and you realize he is not going to change. So you're not here anymore waiting for a different outcome. You see now that all of the effort that you put in, all of the books you read, all the therapy you've tried, all of the talking, all of the communicating, all of the twisting yourself and fawning and hypervigilance, none of it has actually changed anything. You're not confused at all, but you are quiet about it. Now, I'm going to tell you what I see as a coach who works with these women every single day, also as someone who's been through it myself. You expect that once you know that clarity is going to do something for you, right? We always say insight does not breed action necessarily. You might know and still feel frozen. I know that often we sort of think like, this should be enough for me to leave, right? Things have happened. Now I know what those things mean. There was a time I was confused, but I'm not anymore. And we feel like, I don't know, there's like a clean decision after you've had that realization, perhaps after you've kind of hit the breaking point. So you think that that's it. You think that knowing is going to create some kind of distance, especially emotionally, right? Knowing means the feelings will stop because now you get it. It's very logical, so I get it. But you can't logic your way into these relationships, so you're not going to logic your way out. You feel like you have to act immediately once you know. But I'm telling you, like, our bodies don't keep up. Our nervous systems don't keep up with the logic. So many women become clear and finally get it, and then kind of stand there in the relationship waiting for something. So as much as you know, maybe he still reaches out to you and you respond, or you engage in conversations. You're still in the same pattern. You know, you could be in or out of the relationship. This is for you either way. You still see him, you still stay connected, you're still defending yourself, you're still negotiating, you're still being manipulated and gaslit, even though you can see it. And in all of these cases, right, what you're not doing is creating actual distance, emotional distance or physical distance. And I want you to kind of notice this disconnect between what you know and what you're doing. This is a very common place that women find themselves. Now, the attachment, it was never actually just about him because you weren't only attached to the relationship, right? You're attached to the role you've played, to the person you've become. You know, you're the one who could help, who could fix him, who could understand, the one who kept going back, right? You're not a woman who gives up. You're not a woman who puts up with this. You can make it better. You can keep going. You can help him. So you thinking that you're the one that can kind of get through to him, all of this becomes your identity. You know, you've lost yourself in this. Women find themselves living for the other person. You check with him for validation or making sure that your feelings are valid. A perfect example is these men will be like, oh, you're so sensitive. So now when you have a feeling, you're like, I'm angry, right? And it's almost like you're checking with him to make sure that you have a right to feel how you feel. In these relationships, we are playing a multitude of toxic roles. And I've made videos on this before, but you know, the chameleon, the martyr, the trophy wife, the fixer, the people pleaser, a million roles. So you become attached to the identity as well as the relationship. And letting that go means that you're not just leaving him. You're actually losing a part of yourself. Whether you liked playing that role or not, maybe it made you feel worthy or needed or chosen. And if you stop, what then? What do you become? What does he become? Will he be okay? Will you be okay? If you're not fixing, What value do you have? If you're not stabilizing everything, how are people going to react to that? In an abusive relationship, this role gives you a purpose. And stepping out of it, it's just there's this gap, there's this empty space. And this makes it so that we pull back, but we don't necessarily leave, right? A lot of women report not loving him anymore, not wanting him at all anymore, but yet you're not leaving. And it seems crazy making, I'm sure, to the people on the outside who don't get it, but you've been through it, you know. You might stop trying so hard. You're not doing as much for him anymore, but you're still involved. You're not arguing as much, but sometimes you still get baited. So you engage a little bit less emotionally, but you still engage. You're still responding. So you're more aware, yeah, but you're still in the relationship. You exist in this weird middle space where you're like not fully detached, but not fully invested. And that part keeps this role very much active. And one of the saddest things too is that a lot of women start to turn on themselves in this spot. Like, I'm stupid. I should be gone now. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why am I still doing this? And you're blaming yourself because you're kind of measuring yourself against what you think you should do. You know now, so obviously you should leave. We can sort of plead confusion before, right? You didn't know that it was abuse. Sure, maybe other people knew, but you didn't know. One of the hallmarks of an abusive relationship is confusion after all. But all this shame starts to build because you know now. What the hell are you waiting for, right? But we are so focused on this lack of action in ourselves, and then shame starts to build. And that actually is one of the worst things to feel when you want to leave a relationship. Shame's not going to help you leave. But I want to let you know something much more positive than you might have expected me to say here. This is not the beginning, but it's not the end. You are in the detachment phase. You're just not quite there yet. So maybe, focus on the fact that your perception has shifted and that you do understand. The fact that you know now is actually huge. That's a hard place to get yourself to. Okay, your behavior hasn't fully caught up yet. That's okay. But it takes time to kind of unwind from this role, right? It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes repetition. It takes learning. And so many women are watching content on getting out of the relationship and what he's doing. I make a lot of content on that, but don't miss all the videos I make on rebuilding and knowing who you are and your identity. I have a group coaching program called Rise and Rebuild. I have a book called Coming Back to You, and I teach this in my one-on-one sessions as well. You're not going to drop any of these patterns instantly, especially the ones that are tied to identity and attachment. They're so much harder. So if you've ever had this moment where you knew that you couldn't save him, but you just stayed, I want you to just sit in this feeling and notice how quickly you made that mean something about you instead of the pattern that you're in. You're blaming yourself for not being able to leave. You know that you can't save him. He can't be changed. He can't be helped, or he doesn't want to, but that's not the point. You are blaming yourself for the pattern that you're stuck in. We got to shift this. Staying connected in any way, whether you're still in the relationship or you're on the outside, but you're keeping in touch or you're checking his socials, it doesn't matter. At any stage, any level of engagement is going to keep this dynamic going, right? Any type of contact reinforces the pattern. So obviously, if you're still in the relationship, that's a hell of a lot of contact, right? We need to be able to get you out, which is a very difficult thing to do, particularly if you're trauma bonded and attached. But follow, hit subscribe, keep watching my content. Even small interactions are going to reactivate this role, right? You never fully step out of it. It doesn't release completely. You need to let go of the role and then build a new role. Because the truth of the matter is, this breaks when you step out of the role. It doesn't break when you understand him. You're past that part. It's not when you accept he won't change. You're done. You're there. It's when you stop showing up as the one who fixes, the one who explains, the one who defends herself or negotiates. Remove yourself completely, all of that. And then you need distress tolerance skills and emotional regulation skills to sit in the complete discomfort and anxiety of stepping out of this role. It's hard when you still care, when things still feel unresolved, but this is what actually changes your behavior. You're not stuck because you don't know if he'll change or not. You're stuck because part of you is still holding on to being the one that could be the person that changed him. Let that go. Subscribe if you're not already. And if you are ready to do this work and actually break free of these horrible cycles, work with me one-on-one, or join my group coaching program called Rise and Rebuild. It's a 12-week structured group coaching program for just 8 to 10 women where we take you through the actionable steps to move yourself forward. I co-host that program with Dr. Peter Salerno. So this is 2 phenomenal experts over 12 weeks. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.